Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. Oh, yeah, this thing's going to wind up in the Supreme Court, and the NCAA has zero chance. They've already been destroyed there once, and it's going to happen again. And I'd actually done half this show and forgot to hit the record button because I was in a hurry. I'd been stuck at work all morning.
Drink it up, people! All right, drink it up, gambler.
You know how it is. But anyway, we're going to get into this story. Yeah, the NCAA, they were doing their typical thing. They were getting ready to put out their notice of allegations and all that to Tennessee, but they like to leak that stuff out because they're not really supposed to make official statements. So they usually give it to one of their little toadies, and they've got one of their favorites. I call him Grover Dill. Some of y'all will know him as Pat Forday. But anyway, they got a response that they didn't expect. Donde Plowman just absolutely wore them out. And then our Attorney General for the state of Tennessee smacked a lawsuit on them so fast, along with the state of Virginia.
Now Kane! Well, they're a tag team now.
Think they were ready for this? And Danny White came out with a letter as well, and we'll discuss that in a minute. But let's talk about what's already happened at the Supreme Court. They went there and tried to get an antitrust exemption, basically. They were fighting the Alston case, which was the ability for an athlete to get paid for his name, image, and likeness. And needless to say, the Supreme Court didn't like the NCAA's arguments. As a matter of fact, this was their response for the NCAA's request. That's right. And this is a story from about 3 years ago by Paul Meyerberg. It says Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh rips NCAA an antitrust ruling, says it's not above the law. They ruled unanimously, 9-0. Do you know how hard it is to get 9 people to agree on anything? This is a court that's usually 5-4, 6-3. 9-0. They can't get 9 people to agree that bacon tastes good, much less getting them to agree on one of these types of things. So anyway, 9-0, which was just brutal. NCAA versus Alston. And Brett Kavanaugh had a concurring opinion. He began by calling the ruling an important and overdue course correction before unleashing a series of blistering attacks on the long-standing NCAA model. He said, nowhere else in America can businesses get away with agreeing not to pay their workers a fair market rate on the theory that their product is defined by not paying their workers a fair market rate. And then, of course, he said the NCAA is not above the law. He said the NCAA's business model would be flatly illegal in almost any other industry in America. Says the current NCAA model is suppressing the pay of student athletes who collectively generate billions of dollars in revenue for colleges every year. And then he said that they cannot justify the NCAA's decision to build a massive money-raising enterprise on the backs of student athletes who are not fairly compensated. So he can't wait for the next case to come up there. I mean, he's pretty much telling them to bring it on.
Oh, it's already been brought.
That's exactly right. It's already been brought in by Virginia and the state of Tennessee. And we're going to whoop the crap out of them. I can just go ahead and tell you. And the NCAA, they know it. They know it down deep. They've already been humiliated up at the Supreme Court, and that's where this is headed. And the NCAA, they really stepped in it on this one. Coming after UT like that, and then the president of the NCAA refusing to meet with Donde Plowman and Danny White, that really ticked her off. That's just rude. I guess he was too busy, but he wasn't too busy to send his little minions out there. And believe me, this is only going to get uglier because you know the NCAA is going to throw everything they can against the wall. But here's the thing. I feel like we're probably going to get a temporary restraining order on them fairly soon. I believe they're trying to get it by the 6th. So we'll see how this plays out over the coming days. But let's take a look at Danny White's letter in response to the NCAA. And his statement says, the NCAA generally doesn't comment on infraction cases because there's a rule against it. However, that has not stopped them in the past from leaking information to the media as they did this week about us. Once again, Mr. Forday. Yeah, see, he's their mouthpiece. So that's why they normally don't have to talk about it. See, they're a lot like Fight Club.
You do not talk about Fight Club.
Only that didn't work for them this time. So they actually came out and did a little bit of that. It says their actions made this ill-conceived investigation public and forced us to defend ourselves. It's clear that the NCAA staff does not understand what is happening at the campus level all over the country and in the NIL space. After reviewing thousands of Tennessee coach and personnel phone records, NCAA investigators didn't find a single violation. So they moved the goalpost to fit a predetermined outcome. That's exactly what they did. We're going to get them, so let's just make up something. Let's go another route. That's not an investigation. That's more of a scam. It says they're stating the nebulous, contradictory NIL guidelines written by the NCAA, not the membership, which they claim the membership was clamoring for. Says it doesn't matter applying the old booster bylaws to collectives, which they did. That was not what the members wanted. Said if that's the case, then 100% of the major programs in college athletics have significant violations. Said this is obviously silly and not productive and is blaming the membership whenever they are challenged. We need to be spending our time and energy on solutions to better organize college athletics in the NIL era, something that the NCAA leadership failed to do back in 2021 because instead of working on it, they were too busy fighting it. And then they got caught with their pants down when the Supreme Court whooped them and sent them back. And then they were like, oh, crap. The next day it was allowed, and they started putting these stupid memos and guidelines out. They didn't know what they were doing. They hadn't even thought it through. And now they want to go back and retroactively make it illegal. They're just going to get smacked down again. It's just like they're almost so foolish. I don't even know why they're doing this. It said student athletes, coaches, and administrators across the country deserve better, and I refuse to allow the NCAA to irrationally use Tennessee as an example for their own agenda. So what he really said to them was this. Excuse me. Exactly. This is how this is being done. Do you honestly think all these players are going to all these universities are going to go show up there, enroll, and then go down to the local ice cream store or the local bakery and say, hey, would you pay me some NIL money now that I'm here? No, that's not how it's going to work. The money's going to be set up through the collectives, which it's being done, and they're going to know what they're going to get when they come here or to any other college. That's how all this is done. You'd have to be an idiot to show up for a job, start working at it, and then say, can I have some money? That's not how the world works. And the Supreme Court made it clear to them, said, this is not going to work for you. You're not going to be able to break the law and go around the Sherman Act and the antitrust guardrails that are there to protect the American people. You're not going to be able to do that. Well, they just keep trying to do it. It's unbelievable how foolish this is. It's almost shocking. There's not somebody at the NCAA that's saying, look, we're going to lose this. We're going to keep getting sued left and right. We're not going to have any money to do anything because we're going to be too busy fighting things in court that we're going to lose. They're already 0 for 3 and got destroyed at the Supreme Court. How can you get beat 9-0 and then turn around and go, what we're doing's fine. Let's just keep kind of going down this road. Give me a break. And if they think that the Vols are going to back down, the state, no way. We're just going to double down. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to back down. And they're just going to keep getting smacked. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm fine with it. Let's do this.
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
Absolutely. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's be able to continue to cover my Vols, the SEC, and all these big news stories. And I'll probably do another show on something else I'm working on. And if you've not subscribed, hit this button right here on your right. I would appreciate it. Costs you nothing. Helps me out. And right over here is most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.